everybody, it's Valerie Wallace Fine Arts here at 1 o'clock on maybe May 22nd, and it's Friday, and I'm here in my basement studio in Orono, Maine, and we're going to do a drawing lesson today on this landscape, which I believe is from a painter that, I don't know, and it's a Tuscan landscape, which is like from Tuscany, which is part of Italy. And it's known for lots of things, and maybe I'll mention some of those things, fun facts, while we're drawing. But for now, we're just going to get going, okay? The thing about this picture is, because of the way the road converges, it makes it look like it goes far away, okay? That this is, and this little house is very, very tiny and simple, but it's way far away down the road, which I think is really neat. And then you have the mountains. The other thing is this, is that we are kind of a little bit on a rise, and we're looking down, which seems kind of weird to me. I think it seems a little opposite, but the horizon line is actually probably up in here. The higher it is on the page, the more you actually look like you're looking down. Okay? All right. I'm going to start with a dark brown. Again, I always suggest that you use something light to start with. If you're drawing with pencil, draw lightly to start with. If you're drawing with a color, pick something really light, meaning like yellow or light brown. You could probably use light green or something like that in here, or orange or yellow. But I'd stick maybe with yellow or whatever. I'm going to use this brown one. We're going to start with the house, okay? Don't see... Actually, what I was going to do first is I have a green, and I'm going to have you draw a line that's about right here. Okay, so from top to bottom, the middle is here. It's up a little bit from that. I just want you to draw a line across to start. Okay, that's all just to give you something to go by. Okay? Then I'm going to take the brown. I only want you to see the middle piece right now. And not sitting on this line, but up a little bit from that, quite near the middle. You're going to make a line like this. And a line like this. All right, go across the top, but don't go across the bottom. Okay? To make it look like the roof, you know, tilts up a little bit, what you do is you make the line that's on the top of the roof a little bit shorter than the one below it. Okay? So that this line tilts this way a little bit, and this line tilts that way a little bit. Does that look even? That looks pretty even, right?
Yep.
Okay. The only problem with this is that this is pretty dark, and I will have to kind of blend it into the background so that it doesn't look like it's outlined in brown. So that's kind of that thing you want to get away from. We're going to have a little piece over here. So you just go out and down, and you'll have a little square like that. And then just come from, you know, probably where the roof is, and don't go quite as far as the lower line, and you slant that roof a little bit like that. Okay? On the other side, the roof slants a little bit. Yeah, all right, we'll do it like that. So what you do is make a little bit shorter line here, so you slant this downwards, okay? And then we'll have a little roof on top. Okay?
Cute.
That's all you gotta do. That's it. And then we're just coloring shapes of colors on here. That's really all it is. I'll do it again right down here. So I found the middle of my page. I want to go up a little bit and just kind of make a light line that goes across, representing kind of where the green meets the poppies. A little above that, I'll make a rectangle, and I'll only draw the top line of my rectangle. Okay? Then I'll go up a little bit, make a line that's a little bit shorter. And I'll tilt this way and tilt that way. Over here, I'll put another little box. Go across that. And then the roof goes out, but not as long as the line below it. So you can slant the roof like that. And then over here, I'll make another one, and I'll slant the line down like this. And we'll have a little more roof on top. Okay, does that look even? Ooh!
Not bad.
A little wonky. It's because these lines don't look necessarily vertical, Okay, they have to go straight up and down, all right? All right. The next thing I want to do is to start at the top with this pink sky, okay? So grab something as light as you can get. I have some new colors, and I'm going to use, this is scarlet? I wouldn't call it scarlet, but anyway. And that's going to be pretty close to that, very, very light. If you don't have a super light pink or a light orange, you'll just have to put a little bit on there and then take a white and smooth it up, okay? And that'll lighten it right up. All right, so I'm thinking about this blue line of the mountains, and that's the line that I'm going to draw. So the lower part of it is probably here. I want to make sure I have plenty of room for all this blue, so I don't want to put it here. So I'm going to start around here maybe, and I'll make a line that kind of wiggles and kind of goes up, and then maybe off to the side, and here it goes up, but maybe not as high, and then over like this. And I'm going to color this in. Okay, I think I will find that probably we'll still put a little bit of white on top of this. Okay, I like that. Down here I'll do the same thing again. I'll find the middle, and that'll be my lowest point. And then over like this. You know, it doesn't really matter what you do. Just a little, you know, people think mountains like that, but they're not usually like that. They're not usually that pointy. And when you're drawing them like this, okay? I'll take that, blend that into the sky, so I'll give a little bit of shade to it. This seems like hot summer colors, doesn't it? We're getting there. Okay. I am going to use the same colors, pretty close. This one's lighter, but this is pretty close to what's happening there, which I think they use a lot of times terracotta type stuff for their roofs. They use natural, not stuff that grows there. What do you call stone and sand and all that stuff? Yeah, I guess local materials or whatever. And so they're very earthy colored. Everything's very earthy, meaning with an undertone of brown. Just think mud. But, of course, it's gorgeous and very tasteful. I'm going to keep this white one. Actually, I'm going to use this one. I think it's almost white. I'm going to use this up here. I find this problem with the pastels is that all you need is one little tidbit of color on your pastel from some other place, and it makes a big mess. So I keep a rag handy and try to remember to wipe it off, because it's kind of a bummer. You can kind of scrape it off with your fingernail, but... Okay. Alright. Before we do the mountains, what I want to do is to kind of define this all-over green shape. We have very dark bits, and we have light bits. And when we do the darks, to give this contrast so the bright light things seem really light, you have to go super dark on the dark things. Okay? Really, really dark, fill it all in. If you're a little lazy about coloring something in, let that be the light things. But the dark things, you want to really put it to it, okay? So I'm going to take probably this green again, okay? Because this is pretty close to what I have here. What I'm going to find is that I'm only going to put a little bit on, and I'm going to use a little bit of kind of an ochre, kind of a brownish yellow, all right? Okay. There are sort of two, when I'm drawing most of these trees and grass and bushes that are happening around the house, I'm going to be thinking about circles. Okay, everything's kind of soft. There's no pointy pine trees or anything like that. And there's lots of like different shades or whatever, but if I do them in little bits and circles and little bits and circles, that will probably seem pretty natural. Okay? There's a big, kind of a big lump right here, and then a bigger lump for a tree. Okay? kind of comes down and then comes up a little bit. Make sure you've got a pretty nice space between this and the sky so that you can put those mountains in there. Okay, so just like there's more green, dark green on this side of the house, there's less over here. All right? This side just sort of starts low and works its way up a little bit. Okay, just don't go too high, or you won't have that room for the mountains. I want to draw kind of a light green bumpy line right here. I'll just kind of curl it around like I'm coloring scribbles. All right, and that will help to have trees in the back and then trees in the front. All right, maybe a little extra of this. I'll do that later. The other thing I want to draw in kind of is just this curly bunch of darker trees, kind of like right here. Look like a cloud, kind of. We're not going to do any more with this till we do the blue and we do the house, because we have to think a little bit even though you're not painting, if you're painting, this is probably the most important thing that I do when I help a painting class is the order of things, because everything is a lot easier if your paint's dry underneath, and also if you don't have the wrong color that's still wet. So in this case, we just don't want things all mixing in together. So you're going to, I'll draw it down here too. So I have to do a little smaller here, I guess. So I'm going to go a little bit up around the house like this, like that, and then another curly line right here. And I'll start right above my house here, which is something like this, and another, right there, okay? Well, I'll come back to that too. So we're going to do the mountains next. And I have two shades of blue, okay? And they're both, one's pretty light, so that's going to work pretty well for that. And this is kind of on the right color, except this is too dark. So I have my white that I'm going to use on top of the blue, the darker blue, just to lighten it up a little bit, okay? So I want to have, right around here, I'm going to draw a cross, maybe go up a little bit. It doesn't necessarily match the line of the stuff the line that's against the sky, okay? And I'll color this in. And if the blue and the pink overlap, they make just kind of a purple. So that makes fun, like a lavender. So that works great. That makes perfect sense for that to happen at the sky level and everything. But there's no, and things like this. I'm working on a painting of the beach right now and trying to make myself make small little bumps at the horizon line that get lighter and lighter and lighter. And it's funny how just simply making them lighter makes it look like it goes far away into the distance. Oh, I just felt a big warm breeze through my window. Can you feel it now?
No,
No?
but I have been. Just not down here.
Yeah, upstairs we have all the windows, well, not all of them, almost all the windows. We did a lot of window washing and screen putting on yesterday, but we didn't get them all on. I have a lot of windows. I have 20 something, maybe even more than that. 20 something windows, but I broke a bunch of the screens. Yesterday I was washing and I totally busted one too. I like to open the curtains and open my windows whenever I can. Alright, so then I have that. So it's way too dark. So see what happens when I put this light blue on there. What am I saying? Let me put this white on here. Even if you're using colored pencils, if you're using Prismacolors, not really soft, your white will make a difference. If you're using just a Crayolas or something like that, might not be able to make much of a difference, but you probably have a lighter blue anyway. Okay. What we're going for with this is to have the sense of space, and of course this field of beautiful red flowers, right?
Yeah.
So probably, yeah, I might even put it on this here, and that will also soften the line between the two sets of mountains. Because it's not the focus, it's in supporting, it's in a supporting role. It's not the headliner. Okay? Alright. Grab the darker green that you're going to use, and I am going to use this sap green, which is just kind of a little bit brownish green, okay? And first of all, I want to get over this brown line so that I can mix that into this. Okay, like that. Alright, so if I go right over that brown line, it'll blend into this dark green. And the dark goes right against here. This is what I was saying, that these are the parts you want to color in the most. Especially where the two things meet each other. You want them to be very crisp about it, because that's going to set... The only thing that's really setting this house apart is that light roof against the dark sky. You don't even really see anything happening, no details on the bottom of it. Alright, so over here on this side, I'm going to go up against this light green line, light green curly line. You know, I can leave a little bit of white in the, I've got the paper that has a little tooth to it, which means it's a little bumpy. And I can leave a little behind, then I could add another color in there on top, which would be nice. So there's another whole section here that's going to go right, I'm going to bring it right into this light green, but just enough so that the light green is kind of like an outline between a closer part of the forest and a part that's farther away. There we go. Alright. Okay. I have this little blob over here. Again, it doesn't need to be smooth on the top or the bottom, because where it has all these bushes around. It's very natural. Alright, but this is a very warm brownish green, and that goes with all of the warm colors that we're going with. Alright, the other thing I want to do, I guess, is to color the house in before I get any farther along. And that, I'm going to take the, where is it? Do you see? It's the lighter, this one. Okay, well, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to take this one, which, we're calling this, I don't know what we're calling it. It's not really ochre, it's kind of a, oh, it is burnt sienna, okay. A burnt sienna, it's very light, okay. There's raw sienna and burnt sienna. Raw umber, burnt umber. Okay, I'm going to use this on my house. I may need to go a little bit darker, but I'm going to start with this. I want to definitely get over these brown lines a little bit, blend those into the color a little, okay? And these two sets, and along the bottom, it's going to have bushes growing up against the house. So we don't want, it doesn't need to be a straight line or anything. We're going to cover right over the bottom of it. So just do it like this. And then the other thing I want you to do is to take this color. This could work with kind of a gold too, if you have that. And I don't want you to go heavy, but I want you to lightly put a little coating of this all over the place, because the color of green here, you think it's a light green. What did I do with a light green? Well, even like this one. But this is so much brighter than what's happening here, and to dull it up a little bit, we're going to put this color underneath. Okay, we can bring this down, and while we're at it, okay, actually, something down here. Okay, get caught up to where I am with this, all right, and I am going to do the charcoal one for a sec, okay? So I need to get a little heavier here, and this, when I do this, I'll just blend the darker color right into the rest of it, and that'll serve that purpose. Alright. My foot's all better. I was going barefoot yesterday and I stepped on a thorn and it stuck way, way, way in my foot. And I had to have a little tantrum. Well, not necessarily a tantrum, but I sounded very, very whiny and babyish.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, it's probably a little bit panic because Tim was working at it, and I wasn't sure how much he told me he wouldn't do anything, but I don't think he ever intended not to pull it.
Yeah.
And
he was getting it out of there.
Kind of reminded me of how I felt when I was having a baby, like just a little. Yeah. Oh, I don't want you to do that. But Daphne had to pull it out, and Tim had to hold my foot and squeeze it. But it's all better today, so it was worth it.
So it was worth getting it in your foot, or?
It was worth having you guys pull it out. And I don't know whether the stuff that he put on really did help the pain, or if him just saying that helped the pain. What was that?
It's Calvin.
Everybody's going to hear Calvin come down singing, much to his mortification.
I think he's saying Daphne.
You'd think you'd know by now. This is one of those things where you're like, Mom, don't you remember when my classes are? It's like, I remember about as well as you remember what I'm doing. There. You would have ruined today too, though, if I left it in there, for sure. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we put a little gold where we think our green is going to go. You want to have from where the bottom of the house is to around here. Make sure there's a nice little, piece here. You can just bring this down. Okay.
Mom?
Shh. I'm on my show.
Oh, word, sorry. I'll see you later.
You have mail on the table. Okay, now we're gonna do the road, okay? And what I want you to notice is how it looks here, okay? It's a very, very skinny triangle, okay? It starts way down here because as it gets tiny, it's, just a little one car width. So that when it gets, there's so much stuff has grown over it that you don't see it anymore, okay? But it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. And then what happens is it changes and goes a slightly different direction because it's getting closer, okay? So what I want you to do is find a spot about right here and maybe give yourself a spot right about here. Be thinking the width of this is, maybe the width of your house. So you don't want any wider than that, okay? Be thinking that's a good estimate. All right, and you're going to give yourself a little line that goes like this. It doesn't look like it's going to make any sense. Okay, I don't think it does, but it actually is. Okay, so same thing down here. I'll start here, and I will make a little dot about here and about here. Just lightly do those, Okay? And then the line that's on the right is going to go actually off the side of the paper. It's not coming down here, it's going all the way over here. So you're going to curve that over to the side like this. And this one just comes over a little bit. So, you're going here, just enough so that this turns. And it seems like it will be strange. Looks like a witch's shadow, but it will work. Okay? Alright, let's do it. Alright. Let's put a little more green out in the background there, so we'll basically be done with the upper half of the picture. I have this, and maybe this one too. Oh no, here it is. So I have two light greens to put here, and this kind of like there's a little grass here maybe, maybe a little, scribbling right around in here. I should have told them about the clothes too. You'll definitely find that once you start taking the edge off the greens in your landscapes, that maybe you won't think you'll like them more, but you probably will, because the greens aren't usually quite as vibrant as they are in your pencil box. Okay? And so you just have to learn to add a little brown to dull, maybe even not all of it, but just one of the shades. Especially, it's okay in the summertime, because things are pretty bright. Like in the springtime, it can be almost garish how bright things are. But if you want to get better at it as the fall rolls in and stuff, not that we want to think about that, but you definitely want to learn how to put the browns in there. Okay? I can put a little of this green out in this thing. Okay, alright, so let's start doing what I want you to do is to take a tan, a brown, a beige, something very light. You'd be surprised that this is pretty light. And what I want you to do is just kind of lightly color this side to side. Try to do it side to side as much as you can. Okay, if you go over the edges of it, that's great, because this is a sandy little driveway, not a paved and manicured piece of pavement. Okay, so we want this a little irregular. It can be just fine like that. All right, do that. And the deal with the flowers is that for the most part, it looks like the field is all red. Okay? And there's just a little bit of green left behind. And what we have to do is use the red first, because the green is so, if we dull up the green by having it mixed with the red, that's fine, because that's the leaves, but we want the red to be as vibrant as possible, because it is the leading lady. Okay? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to mix a little bit here and there, and you have to think about which one mixing into which one makes a difference. Okay, so we're going to do the red first. And I want you to pick as orangey a red as you can get. Okay? Now here's two reds. One's pink and one's orange. Okay, I'm going to keep this one. And then there's another one. Where is it? There's two reds. Okay? And I want the orange one. Alright? If you don't look here, the majority of that field is red. there's little bits of green here and there, and they actually are kind of blended in with the orange. Because the flowers are farther away. Here we have little patches of flowers that are bigger, and we'll do this, we'll have to sort of spot them in just to save a little bit of room for the red, put the green in, and then go back and add a little more red to them. And here, because these are closer to us than these are bigger, these are smaller, but these are kind of spaced out. So we're looking at, from just above where the curve of the road is where we're putting in mostly all the red. And so you're going to work as much as you can in big pools of red, with maybe leave a little streak here and there where you're going to put a little bit of green in, but very little. And we can always put more red on, but you want to do, for the most part, you want to put it on there. And you may, so I'm going to go down about this far, bring that right up close to the road. Okay? Same thing over here. This doesn't go, this is a little bit up a little bit from the left side. Alright, but you know, you'll be happier with the turnout if you color it almost all red, okay? Because it's kind of like if you live around here, if you ever get a chance in the fall to go look at the blueberry barrens, and they turn red, like just a killer red in the fall. And you look, and it's, it's the whole entire, field is red. I mean, there is a little grass in there, here and there, but it's not what you're really seeing. So you want to really load this on here, okay? And bring that down here. Then maybe a little more, a couple of places where you have a big shape. Just kind of draw side to side in a kind of like side to side circles, okay? Over here, what's happening is that there's going to be grass that grows up, so we're going to have them a little more spotty. But you have to kind of save a few patches. And usually flowers grow kind of in little clusters, more than all spaced out. Okay, so bigger sections here, some smaller sections here, and if you really wanted to make a flower, like we did this in the
Vase?
no, the windmill one,
Oh, yeah.
is that the windmill was far away, but right up close there were like a few of the tulips that were basically a whole tulip, which is what you could do right in here if you wanted to. Okay? But part of it is the contrast. By having this, if this whole thing, were green with just spots of red here and there, would be a whole different feel than the fact that it has so much of this warm red here. Okay? Take your light green first and use that in some of these sections, and that will, when it crosses over the red, it's going to give you kind of a brownish green, and that is exactly what's happening in this painting. And this person definitely knows what they're doing, so if they can do it and you can copy it, all the better. Okay? Think flattened out patches of green, okay? They're not round balls, they're not sheep. Don't think sheep shape like you might for a cloud. Even clouds a lot of times are a lot flatter than you think they are. Okay, so something like that. Maybe I'll go, and I need to work next to my road a little bit with a little bit of green, because it's a little different right in there. Okay. Here. And a lot of what's making this picture is all the warm toned colors, which is very Tuscan. Okay, I'm gonna do part of that like that. Now I want to get a darker green, and I'm going to use this darker, cooler green, which is pretty close to this. There's still an in-between shade, but I'm going to use this now, and part of where I'm going to use it is right here, because what happens after the road turns the corner here is that the stems and the grass start growing up right along here like this. Okay, within a regular little line along the bottom. And it's going to get bigger as it gets to the side of the paper. Keep it teeny going up like this. Okay? And then along the front here, right around these, this is, maybe I'm standing at the main road where this one turns off. So there's tall grass right along the edge here. But having this dark is really going to help make the light things more exciting, because you have to have that contrast. Alright, and then this would also kind of cross over the road, but in this direction. And then I will put, maybe a little, here I might be thinking more up and down with the grass, because it is nearby, close to our face. Okay. And then I'm going to take a sort of medium green. This one's pretty bright. A little of this in here. Okay, so we almost got this together. Over the weekend, Memorial Weekend, I might have the class on Sunday a little bit, like in the evening, because I have a feeling people are going to be doing other stuff at 1 o'clock, and I might be doing something else at 1 o'clock. And also, I think maybe Memorial Day, I might try to do it in the morning. Whatever that is for me. So keep that in mind. Obviously, you can always watch them. You don't need to watch them live. It doesn't make any difference to me at all. You can watch them. There's almost 60 videos on free drawing lessons with Valerie Wallace-9 on YouTube. They're also on the Facebook page. But on the YouTube page, it kind of tallies how many people have watched, so that's kind of, a nice place to watch them if you can. And I'm thinking about some patriotic things. If you think of anything, send it my way, and we'll do that. And let's see. Okay. In the middle here, there's a little, right in the middle, what I want you to do is start really small and kind of draw up and down and get it a little bigger as you get down this way. Okay, this is that bit of grass. I don't know if you guys ever been out in a place where the tires wear down the dirt, but the grass grows up in the middle. But it does that, which is a neat thing to do. You put a little lighter on here. This is fine with this. Now what I'm going to do with the red is amp it up with a little bit of orange. So in the places where I didn't get quite as much, I'm going to put a little orange on there. And what else? If you'd like to make a donation, there's a link right below the video in blue, I think, and you just click on that, and it will take you right to my website where I take money. And I'm also going to be setting up private Zoom classes, maybe not just private, but particularly for if you're interested in doing some painting, takes a little bit more preparation, and not all the kids and stuff. Moms don't want to get paint out for their kids, I don't think. But I'm going to do a little bit of painting. And some more classes, just like this. If you have anything that you'd like to suggest to draw, something you're crazy about, Just let me know, or you want to learn a little bit, an easy way to do it. I'll try. Alright, there's that, there's that. The other thing I want to do is a little bit of brown right here, right along the edge of my grass, like that, and you kind of go in the other direction. And that will kind of attach that grass to the ground, maybe right in here too. Okay. I hope you enjoy this one. Landscapes are just really nice. Everybody's will look a little different. If you'd like to share yours, I'd love to see it. Sometimes all you're doing is you just want to do the picture, you want to sit, whatever, that's fine. You don't want to think about it anymore. Everybody, I think, has a little bit of times when you're feeling really great and times when you're feeling maybe a little exhausted. And, just don't worry about it. Is that look okay? Oh, I didn't do it down here. Okay. Let's see. So with this, what I'll do is the house. I'll color the house in. Down here. With this. There's that. And I love seeing people's pictures, especially if they show me an assortment like Tammy, because you can really see things that usually you pick stuff that you're interested in anyway, but I can totally see people get a little more comfortable with just the process and using the materials. You get used to the materials, whatever it is that you're using. That's a big part of it. And just a lot of improvement. It's great. Some days you just aren't feeling it, and it's not so great, but I usually like them no matter what. I don't think I do, but I do. My friends Dawn and Christina always accuse me of lying about it, but I'm really not. I'm really not much of a liar. What do you think, Dad?
Yeah, not really.
It's not really my thing.
No.
I can usually find something I like about it. Sometimes not a lot. Sometimes it's a small thing, but there's always something that's good about it.
You're pretty honest with me.
Yep. The time, I guess it's sort of, honesty is good, it just sort of depends on when it is that you're giving it. When it's too late, I told you so, that's not a good time, but. There we are. So this is a whole different deal because I don't have the red. So I have to just leave the shapes light. Okay. There we go. A little bit of line with things. It's just not all blurry. Okay. Good? Good enough?
Yeah.
This one has a little, I think that, there's a little here. And I feel like this gets narrowed in here a little bit more. We'll see how that changes it if I can bring this in a little more. So I kind of I have to bring the line sort of straight down to do it. But once I've drawn that line, I want to work it sideways a little bit into here. I think it's a little narrower right along the edge here. But I don't want to just outline it. I want that into it a little bit. this orange right on top. The orange and the green mix make it kind of brownish, but that looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit of... Well, if you guys are anything like me, you're building up your portfolio. Daphne's going through, gonna make little pictures to match all my frames that I have left over.
Not gonna have any frames left.
No, had them here a long time.
Yeah, you do have a lot of them too.
Huh?
You got a lot of them too.
Yeah, but they're unfortunately kind of weird sizes.
Oh.
Okay, sound good? Look good? Good enough? Have a great day. It's gorgeous here. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. I'll be here tomorrow, which is Saturday. I will definitely be here at 1. And then, like I said, I think Sunday night and I think Monday morning and then 1 again on Tuesday. And thanks a lot. Thanks for joining with me. I'll leave you with a close-up of the painting so you can, see what the details are. You don't need to see them in the beginning, but you might want to take a look at some ways